Hello, so I want to talk about chi and what chi really means. So it's energy that moves through us and through the universe and creates our perception or senses. And really, it's intelligent energy, but also cosmic. So it can be chaotic, um, and yet without resistance. That is just pure intelligence. um, and when it crystallizes into when it finds order, so it's like entropy, um, or reverse entropy. Once the sunlight reaches Earth, plants convert that into glucose or matter in in the chemical sense of photosynthesis, but the energy is actually transformed into the plant. And then we humans also benefit from the sun and other cosmic energies, and are affected by them at least. So the plants or trees also make fruit. This is just a manifestation of the energy that's come down from heaven. So the yang energy meets the yin energy of the earth, and it's all about balance and geometry, because um, the earth as we perceive it, remember it's a living earth, it's just a big ball of energy. And then all the five elements, they have different um, relations and transformations. So we can observe how it works in our own body, doing qigong or um, looking at nature. We see how the nature manifests, and so qi is really just something that mysterious that is behind the physical appearance. And it's a difficult to describe, because even if I say it's the energy you feel when the tingly sensations in your hands, or when you laugh or you smile, you feel that aura of energy. So that is chi. It's just when we become aware of it, we start to identify with it as if it's a physical thing, and then we try to feel it more. But really, uh, we don't need to try. We just need to feel what we feel, and allow the energies to um, change how they do. And so that's like transcending the elements by just being aware of how they are transcendental and transforming. So even when an object becomes material, it's still got energy in it that's you could say conscious at a certain level, like it's vibrating atoms, which are energy. We are energy, and we can't even describe consciousness, as scientists have shown that it's a complete mystery, really. But we can theorize that it was the Big Bang or something from nothing, which is a bit like the yin and yang, except yin and yang is intertwined, whereas something from nothing implies a duality. Well, yin and yang is also just a theory. It's a symbol representing what we're trying to comprehend, which is incomprehensible because contrast is only brought by experience, not by words and thoughts. Thoughts just point towards what we're trying to perceive. So using our minds, we can observe the duality, and then on the outside is just the circle, which represents the wholeness. So if you have just an empty circle, they call it wu qi, or emptiness. And then a thought is like a swirl when the yin and yang symbol turns, and that's chaos into order. Order is the same as chaos, except it's manifest in form, in a specific form that is conscious. Chaos is just a temporary thought or feeling. It's like a cloud. It's expanding, but then it continues on its journey. So it never is a cloud, really. It's just a mysterious energy that is part of us as well. There's no separation. That's something that we need to remember. And not being identified with this or anything, which is ridiculous to our logic mind, but in a way it makes sense, because how could we be apart from the source of creation or inferior? Like, just because we're smaller doesn't mean we're less insignificant. Like, an ant is also very important to the earth, and depending on the ant. But even there's no real absolute anything. It's all subjective and relative to the individual. So the consciousness is real. That's what's real. The connection, the creativity, the ebb and flow of energy. So it's the macrocosm and the microcosm as well. They are the same. As above, so below. So within, so without. So when we think of God being somewhere in the sky or heavens, this is partly true, but it's also down here on earth. And we are cared for by the Creator, which is not a human, obviously. It's the energy itself, the awareness. So if you think of energy or awareness, you might think of exercising, and food has energy, but energy is really a mystery. and I suppose there's a definition of it, something that a material or something that moves stuff, that does work or play. So that's what we're here for, is to play. And work as in a clock works, not as in work by the clock. We are the clock. The circadian rhythm, everything is aligned once we wake up and realize the connections. So synchronicity can be found in different ways in life. That's because everything's connected through this web of information, because the matrix, the mother, Ma, connects the formless to the form. So the mother is the holder of all this form that is the energy. So the energy is just the presence of consciousness. So it's like the two work together, even though it's just one. And in everyone's experience, there is yin and yang, but some people have a closer relationship with the oneness that is around it, or so when there's two, there's one. When there's one, there's two, because two is the expression of the one. If there was no two, there would just be emptiness. So from two, there is meditation, a personal experience with the divine. And then three is giving birth to another dimension. But there are no dimensions, because we go back to one. So it's from, well, there are dimensions in a sense, but it's how do I say this? We can only experience it on the dimension that we're at. So words can't describe it's a undescribable thing, just like two doesn't equal one in maths unless you divide it by 0, which is some kind of paradox. And sound doesn't create silence, yet it arises from silence. So at the same time, it's made of the same stuff. It's sound. No, sound is the presence of music in a way. It's the absence. No, it's not the absence of silence, but it's the it's the presence of music or sound, whereas silence is the absence of sound. And yet there is no actual silence apparently in the universe, or at least in our um human experience on Earth, because you can always hear your breath or the heart beating, even in the quietest room in the world. So to have no sound would be complete nothingness, which is not an option. It's like you could be dead, but there'd be no one experiencing that death. So death is just the source. It's the door to the ether. And ether is not empty space, but it's the doorway to infinity. It's the emptiness that, like a plant, it grows into the light from the darkness, and the soil is like its heart, or its feet, or its roots or its feet, and they're a bit like us. Their leaves are like hands, their flowers are like our smile, their fruits are like our energy. So this is the representing the flower, the lotus flower of the heart, and the heart chakra. So chakras are very interesting because they internalize this experience that we're having, going beyond what we can say with words into feeling. And it's very important to feel. The feeling is part of being human. It's just that when we don't enjoy our feelings, we think it's our fault or we're to blame, but it's actually just part of the experience, whether it's contrast or thought just happening. Every experience is in your mind. It's not a projection, but it's representing so that it can love itself as itself. Like, we are really literally in a mirror universe, communicating with infinity. And if you've ever just walked in the flowers in the middle of nowhere, you feel the joy or happiness. Happiness is a state of mind, joy is a physical feeling. So both are when we get in touch with the source, and it's maybe not as mysterious as I'm making it out to be, because it doesn't negate anything. Just because there is a source of nothingness doesn't make the light any dimmer. And everyone's experience is subjective, because without the dark you wouldn't know the light, and so we can either compare ourselves to others, or we can feel what we want in the universe and be one with the creator and the creation. So there's an element of a deliberate creation and consciousness and also a subtler level, the subconscious. And then even the unconscious is part of creation, like the moon is just there, like an object, but it's actually creating an atmosphere, an energy of integration, maybe awareness to the cosmic mind.